Mali Unalived terrorist leader in charge of halting the movement of fuel into Mali. That's a huge one. And in Burkina Faso, we see where the fitness event of the South African king of squat was cancelled by the government of the Captain Ibrahim Traore, and a lot of persons are with mixed emotions. Will delve into that as well. And in Niger, we will see how France is giving a serious warning to the Niger government not to sell their uranium to Russia. Kings and queens, your majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for returning. Trust you and yours are well and you're loving yourself and others like always. Many thanks to all of you for the support you give to the channel. Thank you so much to our channel members, to our anonymous supporters, to all of you my subscribers. You love celebrated and of course appreciated. So as we all know, there have been a lot of, push and pull between the French government and the Niger government when it comes to the French giant Orano's relationship to the Niger uranium mine. We are all aware that recently the government of Abdurrahmani have decided to nationalize their uranium, and that became a huge problem because Orano took the Niger government to court, and of course, it's an international body. They're going to side theirs. So they ruled in favor of the French government or the French giant Orano. And now we are seeing that over 1,000 tons of uranium that is in that very mine. The company is saying that the government do not have the right to sell that particular uranium. Obviously, the Niger people own this uranium. They own the land where this uranium is gotten from. And they were tired of exploitation and they decided to say, okay, let's quietly separate. You go your way, we go our way. We don't want you anymore in our country. And that became a problem because a particular country in the continent is trying to liberate herself. That became a threat to the European bodies or the Western powers. I want us to look into that, then we delve into other discussions, Your Majesties.
My people, France has warned Niger not to sell its uranium to Russia. Things are getting heated. As you all know, after General Abdurrahman Tiani came to power via coup d'etat in 2023, he decided to nationalize the mining sites in Niger. The French company Orano was affected. Prior to that, this company had been operating in Niger for about 50 years, since the 1970s. France is actually a leader in nuclear energy production. You can't take that away from them. However, uranium mining in Niger has had very little positive impact on Niger as a country. You heard the rumor that France was paying 75 cents per kilo of uranium to Niger, but was selling the same kilo of uranium at 200 euros on the international market. And this was a very sad case. Not only that, it is quite, you can see the contrast that on one hand, France is like a leader in nuclear energy production. They're benefiting a lot from the uranium from Niger. But Niger as a country has very little access to electricity. Some reports claim that less than 20% of the country Niger has access to electricity. Very, very sad. But uranium had been mined since the 1970s. So Abdurrahman Tiani saw this as an injustice. He saw this as unfair and decided to nationalize the uranium mines. Apparently, there is a stockpile of about 1,000 tons of uranium at one of those sites previously managed by Orano. There is rumor that Niger wants to sell this stockpile to the Russian company Rosatom, and France is not happy about it. What did France do? France took the case to the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. This is the place where the rich international companies, the rich multinational companies always run to when the small countries where they are doing their businesses decide to stand up for themselves. That was just by the way. Anyway, so they took Niger to this court for arbitration, and the court ruled in favor of Urano. And therefore, Niger was told not to sell the stockpile of uranium, so about 1,000 tons. They were warned that, hey, Niger, you cannot sell it. Yeah? But France is now crying because apparently Rosatom and Niger are trying to make a deal so that Rosatom will buy the stockpile of uranium. What are the consequences? If General Abdurrahman Tiani goes ahead to sell that stockpile to Russia, then Niger's assets, yeah, wherever, internationally, yeah, if Niger has got assets somewhere, international somewhere, these assets can actually be transferred to Urano. That's the thing. So if Niger goes ahead to sell the stockpile of uranium to Russia, then if Niger has assets somewhere else outside Niger, these assets can be transferred to Urano. That's how interesting it is, right? On the contrary, if our people have assets in certain countries, let me use France for example. Yeah, we've seen situations, many cases where our African leaders, presidents, politicians go and then buy assets in France. Out of the blue, France can just decide to lay claim to those assets. And the excuse they have to give is, hey, you didn't use the right channel to acquire these assets, and therefore we can take them away from you. The recent one was what they did to the vice president of Equatorial Guinea. He acquired this beautiful, huge mansion in France, beautiful assets in a very premium location in France. More than 100 rooms, beautiful mansion. France just took it away from him and he couldn't do anything about it. He went for arbitration and they ruled in favor of France. What was the excuse? They said he didn't use the right channel to purchase the assets, meaning he used the corrupt way to purchase the asset, and therefore the asset doesn't belong to him. France has taken it. So it's so interesting how the laws apply differently based on jurisdiction. It's sad, but that is the reality of life.
Crazy things keep happening around the world. And what do we do? This is the situation that African countries are in, but the joy is that we have these Sahel countries pulling away from this, norm. Okay, this evil done to African countries that is gradually becoming a norm. The issue between the South African King of Squad and the decision of the Burkina Faso government about the event that he wants to organize. Now, personally, I felt like this is not the right time for influencers, to go into Burkina Faso with crowd, attracting crowd, and for things like that. This I don't see this as something that is adding to the Burkina Faso government or to the Burkina base. You just want to go, teach women how to squat and have a nice shape. To me, I don't think this is important at this point. This is a serious something happening. The country itself is trying to be very careful because of security challenges, deliberate issues about the terrorist activities around the Sahel, and you just feel like, okay, I should go draw crowd in a particular place and then start, an event that somehow do not add, financially doesn't add anything at all to the Burkina base. I think this is the reason why the government themselves are saying, okay, this is not what we want at this point. Remember, there was a time that one Nigerian popular musician also wanted to organize a show, and Ibrahim Traore said, no, I appreciate your effort to try to organize something in my country. But at this point, this is not what we want. We don't want too much attention of this nature on us yet. And I think that it was for the best. And we have this situation again. And I believe that the decision of the captain of the Burkinabe government is also for the best. Now let's listen to this and we'll take it up from there.
So why did Captain Ibrahim Traore and the government of Burkina Faso cancel the fitness event that is scheduled to take place in the capital city of Ouagadougou by the South African fitness coach or the South African fitness influencer known as the King of Squads? So before I tell you the reasons why, so this man is a South African. He is a fitness influencer known as the King of Squads fitness event. So his fitness event was recently cancelled by the government or the authorities in Burkina Faso. And so many people were being upset about why should they cancel this event. But I just want you guys to watch this guy, the type of clothes he also wear. Not only that, but the image also that he is going to put out there wherever he go, which means that so many young people are going to fall for it, especially young men across the African continent. And one of the worst things that Africa can do currently is that allowing our young men to become more and more feminine. If there is one thing that we should do across the African continent is that to make sure that our young men knows how to use guns, to make sure that our young men are well trained mentally and physically. Physical training is also great, but not in this way. So according to the authorities, they cancelled the event because the government of Burkina Faso want to focus more on the urgent priorities for its people, which is something true. But this is where the most important thing lies here, as this person here wrote. Every supervision is promoted to black people as normal. Captain Traore is not stupid. He knows how the culture is used to destroy black people. And this is something true, which means that this fitness influencer from South Africa, he don't choose any other country. But in Burkina Faso, there is an agenda behind it. Not only that, but we have been seeing South Africa, where black people are 80% of the population, but they control less than 5% of the land in South Africa. They do not control the government, they control nothing. And the same thing, by the way, might also come to Ivory Coast, as we are currently seeing the Lebanese citizens who are living in Ivory Coast are running for the offices in Ivory Coast, in Cote d'Ivoire. Very sad. Just look at Mauritania as well. What is happening in Mauritania currently? Majority of the populations are black people, but some of them cannot even get an ID because they have people in offices that are corrupt, that are invaders from Lebanon that are controlling the Mauritanian government today. So for this, personally, I think that this is something great what the government of Burkina Faso did, because all of these things, are things that to basically, makes the African youths to be blind about the realities, how to be like a great people, how to defend themselves. Because once they try to push narratives like this, with such clothes like this, it will come with more and more agenda like LGBTQ and stuffs like that. And our countries are going to be destroyed by any means. So kudos to the government of Burkina Faso and Captain Ibrahim Traore for cancelling event like this. Our young people should know how to be fit, but not in this particular way, I believe. But let me.
Right, to the issue of Mali. It wasn't long ago I had that live discussion with you where we were discussing about the recent happening in Mali, how these terrorists are doing their best to bomb, fuel tankers that were taking fuel into Mali. And this has affected a lot of things in Mali. The schools been closed, the businesses shut down. A lot of things were not going on smoothly as it should because of this act of this terrorist group. The good news is that one of the leaders, those who mastermind, who planned this, have been apprehended, and in short, he has been taken out. He has been unalived by the Malian military. And according to information from Mali directly, we were informed that things are stable as it is.
Abu Salam Umar is dead. Family, the terrorist leader. This man is the leader of the terrorist group called Uranium that is based in between Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and towards the Mauritanian and the Algerian border. This man and his group, they have been terrorizing the people in those regions for so long. They are Africans, but they are being used by the outside forces like France to give them weapons to terrorize our people, men, women, and children. Not only that, they were also the group who were attacking the fuel tankers also in those regions as well. Schools were closed, for some days because of this man and his group. You see, Africans like this let themselves to be used by the outsiders. Why can't France leave Africa alone? France says that Africa is poor. Africa cannot go without France. Africa can't do anything without France. But if the African people tell France that to leave our continent, they still continue to get themselves involved on the African affairs. That is the most saddest part. They never want to leave Africa alone. But yeah, their terrorist guy is gone, and kudos to Farmer, kudos to the Malian army forces for getting rid of these terrorist groups. And hopefully this will continue to get rid of every single terrorist on that soil, so that Africans can get to enjoy our own mineral resources, not the foreigners, as we have been seeing it for the last, past decades. Well done, Farmer.
When I was having that discussion with you, remember I told you that these people have more serious plans. They know exactly what they are doing. They are the ones sponsoring this terrorist group, so they know what they are doing. They know why they are asking their citizens to evacuate Mali. The American government asked citizens to evacuate. The UK government asked citizens to evacuate. The French government asked the citizens evacuate Mali. And the question you will have here is that why are French citizens, American citizens still present in Mali up until the time? Because there is no cordial relationship between these bodies, right? Why are they still present? And some of you might think that there is no American in Mali, there is no French citizen in Mali. They are there. They are there. Why do you think they are there? They are there because they know what they're getting from that particular country. And like I said, they know why they were asking their citizens to evacuate. They were hoping that their plans would come to reality, where their so-called terrorists would destroy Mali to the latter, to the end. And it didn't work out. The Malian government came out so boldly and began to take out all these terrorists one after the other. And this was how they were able to take out the leader of this very group that is terrorizing Mali at this point. Remember, the reason why the Sahel nation did not even come out openly, officially to let the world know that it's an emergency and they need help is because everything was under their control. Everything was under their control. Now, the fear initially was that why should the African Union come out on behalf of Mali to call for international support, international help? I told you here that the only help that we can give at this point is to spread the word that something is going on in Mali. Let everybody know that something is happening so we can divert positivity towards Mali. Your Majesties, right? Now, why should the African Union Commission chairperson come out, that's the president of Djibouti, yourself, why should he come out and say, okay, he's calling on the international community to come to save Mali or come to Mali's aid? This calls for a lot of deeper deliberation about the union and other unions in the continent of Africa. I have been saying this, when Europe and America fund us, they will always detect how we live and how we operate. Now, I would have a detailed discussion about the relationship between the African Union Commission and other Europe, America, and the United Arab Emirates. We'll have that discussion, and even Israel. Yeah, we'll have that discussion in another video, right? But these are the informations I felt like sharing with you today. What do you think? I'm sorry it's a bit long, but it's about the three Sahel nations, and it's about good news coming from that end. They are not backing down at all. They are taking their power again. They are uniting, and they are facing their fears. They are dealing with those they need to deal with accordingly. And I just felt like, why not I share this good news with you? I keep telling you here, when it's about the Sahel, you see, Abigail is so happy, yeah, because I always have a positive feeling when it's about the Sahel. And that's why whenever something negative comes from that end, I am not really happy, but I always like to bring the information to you so that together we can divert positivity towards the region, because that is the only region right now in the continent that knows what they are doing, that truly are liberated themselves from the hold of colonialism, imperialism, and neo-colonialism, whatever you want to call it. So leave your thoughts and opinion there at the section. I'm going to see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others, stay safe, stay positive, always, Your Majesties. Bye for now.